Hi guys, I'm in my school workshop today and I'm going to be teaching you how to make a project that I like to do with year 7 and 8, which is to make an articulated Minecraft action figure. It uses some basic woodworking skills, but it also teaches you some slightly more advanced joinery techniques using dowel joints and comb joints to make these simple articulations. Hope you enjoy. Cheers. So if you're teaching this in school, I've attached an assessment grid and some technical drawings that you can use by pausing this slide. And here there's a little step-by-step illustration that I made in SketchUp to help explain the process. When you're marking out, it's desirable to have a tri-square to make sure everything you do is perfectly neat, but this can just be done with a steel ruler and a pencil. Here I'm using a piece of planed pine, which you can get from most DIY stores in this size. It's 95 width. It's normally used for like door architraves, etc. But you could use pallet wood or other recycled scrap timber that you have available. Where the legs join the body, this is known as a comb joint, also known as a box joint or finger joint, where you have one shape that interlocks into another. I'm then going to be drilling a dowel through it, so it uses a dowel joint system as well to create that articulation. I want to make the comb joint slightly longer than you would normally to allow for it to rotate, hence the way the markings that I've made are slightly deeper than the wood itself, which is 18 millimeters. I've marked them out at 22 millimeters. Now, because I'm doing this in the school workshop, I've used the bench vise, which I've placed a bench hook into to hold my work securely. You can see here, as I start cutting with the tenon saw, some students will find it difficult to cut this without much vibration because they're slightly smaller and might have smaller hands. So I can use a quick clamp to hold the work securely into place, which can make it easier for students to work with. Now that I'm moving to cutting the internal part of the comb joint, I'm using a coping saw or a fret saw. You can use a tenon saw and a chisel, that's the more traditional way of cutting this type of joint, but I find this to be slightly more effective and a bit safer to use in a workshop with students. And you can see it fits nicely. Now I've got all the main pieces cut, I'm going to start thinking about drilling through my articulated points. I'm going to be marking the centres of these and I'm going to be using a 6mm dowel so that I've got a nice sturdy point for rotation. In order for the legs to actually move, I need to round off the tops, otherwise when I try and rotate them, they'll just bind into the joint and get stuck. So I'm just going to saw the corners off and then file them or sand them round on a disc sander if you have one available. Now I'm going to mark out for drilling. Just for safety, I've placed the work into a machine vise, but this isn't essential. You could clamp it to a desk, but make sure you're working on top of some scrap. And I'm going through with a 6mm drill bit. Slow down when you get to the end of the wood to avoid it ripping through, or place it on top of a piece of scrap. And I'll repeat this process for both legs and the base of the torso. You can see it fits in nicely and it holds its position. I've used a 6mm drill bit for the 6mm dowel. You could use a 5.5 if you wanted to get a tighter fit to ensure the joints didn't slip, but it may need a little filing with a round file to get it so it can fit in without splitting the pine. I'm now going to mark out the corresponding point on the torso and drill that through so I can get my articulated point as demonstrated here. Just testing here to see if the dowel fits through nicely and if the legs rotate fully to 90 degrees. If they don't, I need to go back to the sander and remove a little bit more from the top to enable them to move freely. As you can see, there's good articulation on this and it's a nice stiff joint. I'm now going to mark off and cut this with my coping saw. I'm now going to repeat the same process for the arms, ensuring that the line I get through the top of the body is nice and straight so that the arms sit level with one another.
Like that.
For the head, I need to find the centre and drill a hole approximately halfway through with my 6mm drill bit. Go from corner to corner to find the centre of the wood. I'm now going to cut a short length of dowel to attach that into the top of the body. I need to trim this dowel down. I then need to remove the dowel that holds the arms in place, otherwise the two dowels will clash inside the body and it won't work. So I'm going to cut that to two shorter sections to stop that from happening, as you can see demonstrated here in the video. And that is my completed action figure. I just need a quick sand and then I'm going to move on to doing some decoration techniques using acrylic paint and some Posca pens.